Hey guys, welcome to the Big Blue United podcast. My name is TJ. I'm here with Dan and Colin, and we won a playoff game. Are you as shocked as I am about the outcome of this?
This is
season?
the positive playoff zone, or playoff positive zone.
You down with PPZ?
That's what this is.
Positive playoff zone. Yeah. There's no slander. There's no giant slander anymore to be spoken of on this podcast.
No, because like I told you on that thread, that this is the only time in any of our years as a Giants fan and a Giants team where we can aim for the stars. We can dream big.
The last time the Giants won a playoff game, I believe we won the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. So
that's true.
And I think, well, that team was a good team. I will say that the previous Super Bowl in 07-08, that was a very surprising team. I think had better pieces, especially on defense, than this one does. But, I'm ready to be surprised again. We've made it this far. Why not? I know at the beginning of the year, we're like, there's no way the Giants will ever win the Super Bowl. But, hey, here we are.
Yeah.
A man can dream, can't he?
R.W. McQuarters was making great plays for us back then.
Exactly.
That's true. Great name, by the way, R.W. McQuarters.
Great name.
He can only come in on the McQuarters package. Like the quarters package for cornerbacks. No,
I don't think
that's not a good joke. I'm sorry. That's all right. Hey guys, as usual, please follow Big Blue United on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can follow us at BBU Podbos with a Z. Watch me fight with some Eagles fans this week. Whatever. I had COVID, so I've been bored on there being a jackass. It's been fun. And don't forget to download the DraftKings app. Use promo code TPPN. Lots of good gambling this weekend. Make sure you bet on the Giants. All the parlays. All the bets. I don't know what the over-under is, but I think it's 7.5 they're getting.
I didn't check the line.
Yeah, I think I saw.
Don't even need the spread because I'm confident.
I mean,
not really.
It's exactly the spot that we always want to be in every single time this team's in the playoffs. Every single time.
Underdog?
No one thinks we can do it. So great. Perfect.
What was that stat that came out? The Giants are 6-0 against number 1 seeds in the playoffs?
Yes.
That was a good one.
I like that.
Yeah.
And this is an exact flip and a possible revenge opportunity. When the Eagles were the 6th, we were the 1st. They came in the wild card or not on the divisional round and smacked us up. However many years ago that is at this point, but it's still 2006, I think maybe. So we can do it again. Momentum's on our side. They're cold. A week of not playing, that's not great in a situation like this. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care how good they look this year. And it's house money time. We lose. We had a great season. No one's that upset. They lose. It's a failure. So this is perfect.
That's the position the Giants like to be in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just unexpected gravy train. Colin, but you don't think they lost momentum by benching the starters against the Eagles in the last week?
Well done, sir. Well done. Does TJ feel a little silly right now? Is that possible?
I don't ever feel silly about any of my takes, because this is a sports podcast. It can go either way. You just got to throw some mud on the wall. It's not always going to stick, man.
Yeah,
the pod would suck if we all agreed about absolutely everything too.
That's true.
Exactly. I mean, I don't. If there's anything that we should be apologizing for, what it is, and I'll apologize for my Daniel Jones slander throughout the season. However, when you were watching this whole thing progress, you really didn't see that much until the last 3 games, and all of a sudden, things have changed drastically. So yes, I will say that if I'm wrong about Daniel Jones, which it looks like I might be, it's the happiest I've ever been about being wrong. But, you have to take what you see. You can't just, a lot of people are like, he's going to be great. I know it. It's like, well, I need empirical evidence to make an assumption like that. So for me, I have that evidence now. I've seen it with my own eyes. So the people who, were thinking this way the whole time, congratulations on making the right guess. And I'm really proud of you. And I'm really happy for the Giants mostly. Even if I'm wrong, I don't care if I'm right or wrong about things. When I'm wrong and it's for the best of the team, how can you be upset about that? Whatever.
And best case scenario, this is just a springboard for him to actually build on. Great. He's gonna he's gonna be with us next year. I feel like that's almost a gimme at this point.
Oh yeah,
we
100%.
won't know what sort of deal is figured out until the season's over, I would imagine. And
we should talk about the game before we talk about deals and.
No, I know. I was just touching on it quickly.
Yeah.
And
Do
before
you guys want to maybe start with the Vikings here? Or do you want to jump into the Eagles first?
No, the Vikings. Let's go.
Let's recap.
The Vikings. Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. So Giants obviously won. We were just talking about that. 31-27. Moving in divisional round. What's my favorite stat from this game is coming into this. The Vikings had 11 wins this year with one score or less. The Giants had 8 wins this year, 1 score or less. So we won by 1 score or less. Shocking.
Yeah, and it's going to probably be something similar this upcoming weekend. So get ready for it.
Colin, you know what I was thinking about how Dable's got this team playing a little bit? And this is for that Venn diagram of the people that listen to our podcast and follow soccer. What do they call the Netherlands style soccer? Total football?
Yes.
I feel like that's sort of what the Giants are doing. Like it's total American football in that they're just maximizing and not making mistakes and doing the right thing and playing to the strengths of the players, making, easy throws, making the right decisions when like on 4th downs. They're just playing complete considered football.
And you know what the wild part about it is flipping it on its head, and how it got to that point is being a pass heavy first to set up the run team for this game in particular, which is not something that we've done all year.
Yeah. Well, it's because they're total football and the Vikings pass defense is trash.
And they also didn't think that we would do that at all. They thought we'd come out and run first, 2nd down, 3rd down.
They threw on him all over him, 4 weeks ago, though.
Well, yeah, but then they see the whole cross section of what we've done the rest of the season, and what do we lean into? That kind of style. I guess you're right. They probably could have expected us to kind of throw it this time too, because it worked well enough last time. It's like we knew that their defense was going to be suspect, and more times than not they kind of were. It was there was way too many wide open people for us, which was incredible, and it's not going to be like that on Saturday. So
no.
I mean, though I think the game plan was very similar, Colin. I think the one fundamental aspect that was different is that Daniel Jones ran the ball far more. And it wasn't mostly design runs, it was scrambles. He put his body on the line. I mean, I can't think of how many, first down conversions that he was getting with his feet and, in critical moments that really were, keeping these drives and the momentum going. I think that's where your element on offense really was differing from the previous game. I said I wanted to, see Saquon carry the ball more, but that clearly wasn't in the cards. Instead, you had, Daniel Jones throwing again for 35 times, but, 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. So those are numbers that we haven't really seen from him, even when I think the last time when he hit 300 yards when they played the Vikings before, that was maybe the only other game this year. So, but we did see better passing concepts, I thought, and more routes and more interesting play calling. And I really think the Giants offense is just, running on all cylinders and is really, evolved from that, has to run through Saquon Barkley to win games, which is basically what it was like the whole year. But now we're seeing a full dimensional offense running on all cylinders going into a team against the Eagles who are basically, pretty downtrodden and are getting cold at a bad time, while the Giants are just so hot right now. Those Giants are so hot right now.
I have to say that, and I don't know what it is, if it was scheme or if it was just like serendipity or whatever you want to call it, but more or less everybody on the offensive line was solid for the first time, I think, all year. There were some plays where Jones got sacked, and I think more than anything else that was coverage sack situations. So that's a little bit better for us in terms of, it was just good defensive back work. But for the most part, all of our runs were forward leaning. I mean, there was a couple of losses, but not a lot. And, people were moving. There was pulling all over the place. Didn't matter what position you were on the line, you were pulling. And it was like wiping people out. Bellinger was wiping people out. It was incredible.
That Kenny Galladay block, that was the one.
Dude, you know,
you earned that $17 million for that one block,
I know,
bro.
that's the joke, but not for nothing. It kind of says a lot of him to at least do the yeoman's work and not really care. It's almost like he knows he's shot and he knows he's done, but he's also just like, ah, crap, look at me. I'm on a playoff team. I've never been here before. How would I actually just contribute even a little bit right out into the sunset, and people can say whatever they want of me? It was cool to see. He put in a lot of effort on the couple of plays he was in, and we'll take it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to touch on a little bit of Daniel Jones running. I feel like in this game, I just noticed a number of times where he made more like athletic moves, where he would almost set up a block and then cut it back, and instead of just, you know, flooring it for the edge and hoping to make it there. Just sort of more, it seems like he's getting more comfortable as a runner, which was really cool. And as far as the passing game, I think, again, like, to the credit of the offensive coordinator and the head coach, they were explicitly attacking certain parts of the field. Like, how many crossing routes were just wide open? They're just hammering. The Giants find a vulnerability, you know, from an offensive standpoint, and just keep hitting it until it stops working. Remember, like, that game when they were just doing the bootlegs just over and over again until the other team came up with a solution, and then they have a plan B. It's not just like, once they figure that out, like, we're screwed like we were the past 10 years.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Isn't that crazy how that works when people with a brain?
Like, this play works great. All right, we're going to do this. But, like, what if it doesn't? Oh. Like, that's never a consideration.
Yeah.
I loved what Kafka was doing, man. And I think that you're right. Just changing things up, and it's the little things, you know, it's those route combinations and the creative motion and, you know, finding ways to get these receivers who aren't super talented open. And then, you know, Jones has having the vision now to really, really get them the ball. I mean, it's funny to think about, like, Isaiah Hodgins was a practice squad guy, you know, 8 balls, 105 yards in the TD in this game. Great story, obviously. I mean, what they're doing is just remarkable coaching wise. And I think on the other side of the ball too, it makes it kind of hits the same way. I think the first Vikings drive, you saw them running, you know, man to man. Adoree Jackson was following Jefferson around, and basically that first touchdown, you know, Jefferson runs across, Adoree has a bad angle, Jefferson scores a touchdown. He's got 4 grabs on that drive. Then all of a sudden the rest of the game, you know, they stopped blitzing and they're just running zone the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it worked. And it worked. And they were getting pressure. I'm not going to say they didn't blitz the whole game, but it was, you know, in terms of a Wink Martindale run defense, it wasn't what you were expecting to see. And, you know, that's because they had a plan B, you know, and it worked. It's not just, you know, oh, well, we're screwed because they're running hurry up and I can't get my, you know, third down package out on the field to, you know, run my creative blitzes. Nope, it's just we'll flip up the script and run a whole different scheme the rest of the game. That's what we have to do. It's
chess, because I think he thought, all right, well, I have this reputation as being a blitzer. That's what my defense is built on, predicated on. And, well, guess what? They're not going to see that this time. And let's see if they can figure it out, because they've been training all week, expecting a bunch of exotic blitzes and weird packages. And it wasn't. It was rushing with 4 down linemen a majority of the time. Maybe an extra guy from here and there, but, like, you weren't seeing cornerback or safety coming up. It just really didn't happen. The only time you saw them near the line of scrimmage is when it was a running play, and, like, Darnay Holmes, who arguably could probably be a better safety than he is a cornerback. You know, he's pretty good at tackling, which is pretty sweet to see when he's not holding anybody. But anyway, I'm not getting, it's positivity.
I think it hits on the same things. Like, everyone, all the, like, the lazy boy, you know, coordinators or people, couch coordinators that are watching the games, you know, look at the Vikings and you're like, you can't blitz them. That's the one thing you can't do. Is Wink Martindale going to deviate? And, you know, maybe in past years he wouldn't, but, you know, there's something about the camaraderie in this coaching staff, the focus on winning. And, you know, like TJ said, they stopped blitzing. They started to bracket Justin Jefferson on every play. They had 7 defensive backs on the field the majority of the game, because why even bother with linebackers when you have our linebacking core and you have Dexter Lawrence just eating people alive every single play, man. I mean, that was what carried us to the 2 previous Super Bowls, was being able to get pressure on the quarterback with 4 down linemen, and then just all the other resources on making sure there's no huge pass, no huge explosives. And that's a perfect example in the Vikings. The Vikings aren't really like a dip and dunk team. They are rely on explosive plays from Justin Jefferson, or maybe they can break off a run or two with Dalvin Cook, though he hasn't done it in a while. And they need to exploit those in order to win. If you can curb that, you're gonna win out, because we're a better coach team and we make less mistakes. And Daniel Jones apparently doesn't throw interceptions anymore, so we're gonna usually win the turnover battle. It was just understanding every aspect of what the Giants are, like a real self-awareness of the team, and then ultimately fully utilizing it and fully realizing what the best version of that team. So really no complaints. It was a really fun game. I just scream whispering to myself at my in-laws' house as my kids were asleep in the room next door, but I had a good time. Good sad time watching it by myself.
Well, it's not sad, because some of the things that you were texting TJ and I really put a smile on my face. I will not share exactly what you said, but you were very excited, and I was very excited there with you, and it was good to see, because Dan, it's been too long. I think we need to embrace this team right now and ride them to the top.
That's what she said.
Hey, I also, I had to watch the game alone too, Dan. I was going to go to Colin's house, and then I got the COVID. Now here I am, just, spending a week at home, doing whatever I want, not being really sick at all.
Video games?
Yeah. So bummer. Yeah, I've been playing a lot of video games.
Good. What?
Madden, actually.
Oh, yeah. How's the new one?
It's the same as all the other ones, but I got it because it was on sale, so why not? I don't have it on anything. So
are they a lot better at actually grading current seasons and teams, or is it?
Well, it's like I feel like when we were playing a lot years ago, this is like the 08 Madden. It was like they would base the ratings on who was in the league at the time.
Yeah.
So the best player in the league is going to be 99, the worst is going to be whatever 60. But now it seems like they're rating it on a scale of all time. So dudes who are in the 75s and stuff are good starters, basically.
Yeah.
So it's very different than it used to be, but it's fun. I started a franchise with the Giants, did some drafts, got a quarterback. It's all good to go.
Cool. Yeah.
Fantasy draft. Anyway,
I think we should talk about some plays.
Go back to one thing, because Dan, when you mentioned Dexter Lawrence, I was going to say that it would be awesome too if Kayvon could get involved and not get held every play. Wow. And never get a flag thrown.
I mean,
that was frustrating to me a lot.
All year, game. all.
It has been all year. Yeah.
Oh, it's awful.
But I don't understand why it's always him.
It's funny you brought up Dexter Lawrence in general, though. I'm going to him because I realized just a moment ago that we haven't had such a great defensive, great defensive tackle since Leonard Marshall, and that's the 80s. So I mean, I guess Keith Hamilton, if you want to say a little bit of the 90s, but this is crazy, and
we're getting get second team All Pro at least. When I didn't see him on the first team, I was like, okay, that's fine.
Not get second team,
and then second team wasn't on that either. I was like, this is shocking to me.
Oh, because it's the hate New York button.
Yeah, something like that, man. Andrew Thomas is on it at least. So
yeah, all right.
But anyway, Dan, you want to talk about some plays? Let's talk about some plays. Baby.
I mean, I feel like there was a number of very memorable plays that occurred.
Statue of Liberty.
A Statue of Liberty with a little swag to it. I feel like Daniel was feeling
swag
himself.
Chew of Liberty.
Yeah.
Dude, he was locked into his own. I mean, I said this to you guys too. I mean, I feel like there were a lot of plays that we've not outright seen all year, and they were just out for the playoffs, and it's only going to get crazier.
Yeah. My favorite play was about 3.5 minutes left in the game, 4th and 1 on our side of the field. I guess it was the 45, and we went for it and got it. I feel like that was absolutely the best thing ever. That's what you should be doing. You should be, that's the attitude they had all season. That's the belief they had in the team all season. It was a yard. They've been getting it all season. To not go for it and to play ultra conservative again with all that time on the clock, like, just be who you are. Like, it was amazing. That made me want to punch a hole in the wall. We
knew that identity from week one when they went for two to win the game. You know, they're not scared, man. 2 for 2 on fourth down. Both plays were good.
And they punted, but it also, you know, what that did was it gave us another set of downs, took a bunch more time off the clock. Like, it was awesome. It was the best.
I love that Isaiah Hodgins catch. That was my 26-yard catch.
Unreal. Was that your favorite play?
On the sideline. One of them. I mean, there was a lot of good plays. My favorite play was every time Dexter Lawrence hit Kirk Cousins. Probably.
I have a peculiar one, and it's mostly because of the usage of players and how this season and especially late season has gone. For one of the 3 to 4 snaps that Cordell Flott had, deflecting that pass.
I mean, he didn't play a single play all game.
Yep. And he comes in and does that, and he's prepared to do that. That's coaching staff, like, supreme mastery right there. And
for a player that was touted as raw coming in this year.
That's my favorite play.
Yeah.
He's had a number of good plays this season, which I think bodes well for the future for him. You know,
I mean, he's tall and he's long and he's fast. Like, he could be good.
Yeah.
You got to get that technique down.
Yeah.
I love the Daniel, like, everyone's talking about like the no look pass, which may or may not be no look, but it was a cool pass. My favorite pass was the pass to the end zone that almost was a catch. I think it was to Slayton, who almost pulled it in. Yeah. But that's the kind of pass, like, he needs to be attempting more and more and more. And maybe he will with better wide receivers or as he gets more uncomfortable in the system. But, like, that's the kind of thing you love to see. I love that.
And having the command at the certain times of the game where he needed to do it to rush to the line and call the play. Granted, he's got Kafka in his ear basically screaming at him to do it, but he has the command to actually get everybody to do it quickly and getting it off. And because, you know, they were going to look at that play. O'Connell was about to challenge it because it looked like Hodgins was bobbling it before that one. But, you know, using your brain.
Yeah, it's always good to use your brain.
And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the roughing the passer call.
Oh, what an egregious farce that was. It was disgusting.
They need to figure out what roughing, you know, it took them forever to figure out what a catch is. They really need to figure out what roughing the passer is because it's too subjective.
He had the ball still. I
mean, he didn't even slam him down. Like, I was confused.
Did they say it was the helmet thing? Like, he hit the helmet?
No. I mean, when they were commentating on it, it was like
it was timing or technique.
Mike Pereira, or whatever, the head of the old officiating guy, he was just like, no, I don't think it was the head because it was a glance. It was more of swinging him to the ground, but he still had the ball. If he didn't have the ball in his hands, then sure. But, like, come on now.
I mean,
he didn't slam him down.
No.
Like.
No,
I don't understand what the rule is anymore.
When it's that close, that's a swallow your whistle play in a playoff. You just can't make that. Like, maybe make it in the regular season, but you like. I know the spirit's to keep people safe and stuff, but there was no added malicious intent there. Like, there was nothing extra brutal about that.
He was trying to make a play. What are you supposed to do?
It really could have swung the game. It really. That's a massive, massive call. NFL lucked out.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right, Dan. I mean, in the playoffs, a lot of times, you know, you'll see a little bit more, you know, of the refs kind of stepping back, especially like with the infighting with the cornerbacks and receivers and stuff like that. But I guess when it comes to the quarterback, he's right there. Everyone's looking at him, so they got to make the call, right? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. It's just
and if it's like a good family man like Kirk Cousins, like they have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you can like, you know, if you touch Tom Brady like this, you know, they call it. So
good to see the old man look like an old man. That was nice. Little segue there.
Like get out. Just get out.
His face looks so weird, man. It just looks deformed almost.
It's Botox and child blood, I'm telling you.
It's blood and
Does Tom Brady own any pizza places?
Yeah, exactly.
With basements.
He might.
Yeah.
He might. The NFL playoff action continues. We're one step closer to Super Bowl 57. And for the NFL divisional round, check out DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all new and existing customers can take a shot at even bigger payout with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. Boost your NFL winnings with each leg you add up to 100%. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code TPPN. New customers can bet just $5 on the NFL divisional round and get $200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code TPPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Oh, man. Dan, I did want to say one more thing. That play where Saquon made Dalvin Tomlinson look like a silly man.
Yeah, dude. And yelled in his face about it.
Former Giant Dalvin Tomlinson, I should say. Yeah. And I looked it up. There's only about a little over 100-pound difference between those two guys. So,
how much is the difference of what they can both squat? That's the real question.
I bet Saquon can squat more.
I believe that.
Also, so many ex-Giants tackles, defensive tackle sightings. Jonathan Hankins had a big play, I think, for
the Cowboys.
I feel like there's just so many ex-Giants defensive tackles that are just found all over the place. I still love Jonathan Hankins.
Me too.
Yeah, I did too. But I love Dalvin Tomlinson too. And Linval, current Eagle Linval Joseph as well.
Hate that. Disgusting.
Dan, I wanted to ask you, did you see like all of Jihad Ward's Instagram stories, other than obviously the really funny one with Daniel Jones, where he showed Saquon, and Saquon was already watching film.
So was Daniel Jones.
So I'm just wondering, Dan, what's the contract that Saquon should get now? Are we doing $18 million because he was watching the film right away, or?
Yeah.
Well, no. Honestly, that is an actual what is?
No, it is a good thing. Yeah, it's just fun to
What is your perception of the man? I know it's very hard. This is the hardest time to ask you about him because you can't just outright say, we should get rid of him, like right off the bat there. But what do you say?
Saquon?
Yeah.
But you mean like the man, like as a person or as a football player?
like what do you do with him? Like what actually?
I was gonna say, like, if you were gonna ask me, like, as a person, I'd be like, if my daughter was old enough, I'd let him date her.
Oh,
he seems like, he seems like a really upstanding young man.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
for sure.
Bronx born, baby.
A little corny though. He's probably not very funny.
No.
He probably wants me to like do Grace too at dinner. I bet. I'm not a Grace guy personally.
I don't know. So. Wait. Have we ever? I don't know if we've ever seen him lead a prayer circle.
He wears a cross. I just assume that he's
so did Michael Jackson.
Style cross.
Yeah, style cross.
Style cross.
We have like 17 names of this episode going.
No, all the good ones were before we started, I think. Whatever. Anything else to get in about this game, guys?
No. Dan has to say what he's going to say about.
Oh,
Saquon.
Dan, say what you're going to say. I'm sorry.
So you're asking me how we should deal with the Saquon?
Yeah. How do you deal with him now? Well, I guess it's
franchise tag him.
Yeah, realistically.
I mean, if there's no one else at all that would be of value to franchise tag, then I guess you could. I don't pay for him more than you want to, and you shouldn't want to pay him very much.
Well, isn't that why the franchise tag is good? Because you get another year out of him. You don't have to worry about that, right?
Yeah, but it's a valuable thing. It's a limited resource. So if there's another more important player you can use a franchise tag on, and do it.
Like who?
There isn't anybody. $10 million for running back. That's really not that
bad. That's fine.
They're totally going to do that.
You're paying Sexy Dexy outright, so you take him out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
He's under contract 1 more year anyway.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, then, I mean, sure, pay him, but just, like, be ready for him to suck next year. Also.
I mean, that's...
Like,
this is
just running backs, that's, like, not necessarily repeatable. They fall off a cliff all the time.
I don't want to talk about.
Well, no, I'm just the reason I bring it up is because it's
and also he's not been like lighting the world on fire. He's been good.
No, but that's the thing. You can possibly pay him less because of that, and he has less tread on his tires because he's not been, 30 carries a game all season. So
Joe Judge hasn't been trying to kill him.
Well, exactly. That's exactly it. But we can move on from there. This is an off-season talk more than anything.
Yeah. Guys, before the Eagles, I did want to ask you one question about our coordinators being interviewed.
Okay.
That's some news today. So Panthers and Texans have asked to interview Kafka. Colts have asked to interview Wink and Kafka. Mm-hmm. I was doing some research on them today, and I did find a stat that's funny. I mean, because these two guys couldn't be more different from one another, just in terms of like who they are. And so Wink is 59. He's been coaching since 1986. First D coordinator job for the Broncos 13 years ago in 2010. Kafka was born a year after Wink started coaching and has been coaching since 2016. This is the first offensive coordinator play caller role he's had for the Giants this year. What do you think the odds are of someone actually signing either of these guys to be their head coach next year?
Kafka would be a fool to go now and try to be a head coach, in my opinion. I think he'd be an absolute moron if he did that. I think he could learn a lot from Dable in the next couple of years and see if they can build on that. Wink, on the other hand, I think he's primed and ready to try to get a head coaching job, and this might be his last chance. So I wouldn't be the slightest bit surprised if he goes and jumps at something in the offseason and we retain Kafka.
Isn't that weird that he's never been, really even considered for a head coaching position? I wonder what it is about him that teams are, stay away from.
I mean, his philosophy, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a lot of that, swagger or whatever you want to call it. I don't know.
But he's also showing a different side of him, an evolution of him and his ability to adapt and
versatile.
Change. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of owners would probably love his attitude and swag. And I agree with Colin. I think Kafka, or is it Kafka or Kafka? Or am I saying this wrong?
Well, I heard Saquon call him as a nickname Calf, but I don't know if that means that's how you pronounce the whole thing. So I don't know.
But I agree. I think he stands to learn a ton. And, all those articles about the coaching staff and how well they get along and just like the positivity and how well things are working. I feel like he's probably enjoying his time. And like you said, he's got a year of calling plays. He's got a master play caller sort of teaching him. And I don't see him becoming a worse offensive coordinator next year, which would only increase his opportunities, increase his selection, increase his pay. I'm sure there's probably a team out there that would hire him just because every time owners hire young coaches, they generally do good because they're not so stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
I mean, like look at around the league. Like how many young coaches are there now?
O'Connell from the Vikings, for example.
O'Connell, Sirianni, like everyone, because they're doing stuff they learned playing Madden growing up.
Yeah. It's insane. Mike McDaniel, these former kids of our generation who played video games and like to get weird with it. Yeah.
It's like, of course, Jason Garrett sucks. Like, guys are idiots. But yeah, no, I mean, I think I agree. I mean, obviously I'm biased. I think Kafka would be harder to replace than Wink.
Oh, you have Dable.
But I do think that a lot of talented people would love to come coach on this staff under Dable, under like what they're doing here. Because I think there's a lot of faith in the system. And if he should win coach of the year, like any offensive or defensive coordinator with talent would want to be part of that. So, I mean, either way, I think we're in good shape, but I would love to retain Kafka. I think we're all stoked on him getting hired, and I think he's exceeded our expectations. So,
and what's sick too about Wink, if the possibility of him leaving does end up coming to fruition, think about it. The reason that he's on this staff in the first place was because Dable wanted to hire people that weren't like-minded with him, who weren't familiar with his style and personally and what have you. What stops Dable from going out there and handpicking another defensive budding superstar mind to do maybe not the same thing, but innovative and with it and aggressive? And I'm not
another budding superstar mind. Wink's mind is necessarily budding, Colin.
No. That you don't understand.
You meant like
I meant that someone who is young and upcoming, who has a a budding superstar mind.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm
like
sorry.
someone who's a defensive backs coach that's like really smart and has like interest. You know what I'm talking about. Come on.
Just make Davis Webb the defensive coordinator.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, when Kafka leaves, he'll just jump right in there. It'll be good to go.
We should mention that in terms of hiring people as head coaches, that all the remaining head coaches in this year's playoffs are all offensive head coaches.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's a trend we've been noticing for a long time, and I think it just is more and more evident. Like, not to say like the 49ers, was D'Amico Ryans is the head coach, the head coordinator for the 49ers, right? He's excellent, but
he is.
Not as excellent as Shanahan, you know. Like Shanahan's excellence is unbelievable. Like, I think offensive head coaches are much hotter commodity these days than defensive minded ones.
I like that Kyle is, in my opinion, I don't say what the record.
Is this an Irish thing?
No. He's a better coach than his father was.
Sure.
Agreed. But different eras.
And Mike Shanahan was in a lot of really big spots, won some big games. But guess what? His son is more innovative and I think more exciting for the future.
You know,
it's to do with every parent, you know.
Yeah.
Let's see younger Shanahan get a couple Super Bowl rings maybe before we all say he's better than his dad. Different era, man.
Not this year.
Different era. No, not this year.
Not this year.
Even though, actually, before we get into the Eagles, one more. What the heck are the 49ers doing at quarterback next year?
Purdy.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
You have 3 starters on your side.
So you ship out, or you ship out the other 2 morons.
You're going to ship out Trey Lance for Black Purdy.
Yeah, that's a piece, man.
In training camp.
They could put Saquon at quarterback and win games.
You might be right.
Yeah.
They
could put you, TJ, at quarterback and probably lose every game.
People can't handle this arm. People can't handle my arm. I can throw the ball like moderately hard, like 7 yards.
Problem's the release time, though. Your release time's slow.
Yeah, it's like 5.5 minutes.
That's all right. I just need to get my timing right with the wide receivers first.
Shut up.
Can we put like lead weights in Debo's shoes so he runs like a lot slower?
Yeah,
make my timing better.
You just gotta start throwing the second you get the snap, and 3 seconds later it'll be out of your hand.
Or just have the center throw it somehow.
All they would have to
throwing
do,
center.
All they would have to do is let me get sacked one time and then I'll be out. And then they can get a real quarterback playing.
You'll kick someone in the shins, you'll get thrown out of the game. That'll be the end of it.
Yeah, I'm not there you go, perfect. Never learned to read. So Eagles, big game, guys. Divisional matchup for
a rivalry game?
A little bit. This will be the 3rd time we've met this season. Lost the first 2. Do you know what the statistics are for beating the same team 3 times in one season are, guys?
It's rare.
I don't know it, but I'll say 0.
That's probably right. Yeah. Never happened.
I think that's it.
But before we get into the nitty-gritty, I think we should just mention a little bit about the injuries going into this. So we saw Adoree leave last game. What was it? A back. Pinnock was out with an abdomen. They both fully practiced today. They're both going to play. Aziz was out as well with a quad injury. He is apparently still hurt, but he's going to play. Collins, Hodgins, Love, Moreau, also all the injury report. They're all going to play. On the other side, you had Lane Johnson, Robert Quinn, and Avonte Maddox. I don't even know who that is, cornerback. Yeah. Those are the only people on their injury report who were actually injured. They were resting basically their entire team today. They're all going to play. Lane Johnson is pretty banged up, so that's nice for the Giants. He's their left tackle. And obviously Jalen Hurts is still pretty banged up, shoulder injury. So that's where we're at injury-wise. Basically, Giants are going to have everybody. Not everyone's not 100%, but what do you guys think? How are the Giants going to win this game?
Smacking them in the mouth.
Just like they're going to punch each other in the helmet until everyone breaks their hand, or
I think Dexter Lawrence is going to drop kick the entire offensive line.
That'd be quite the feat.
I mean, I think
yes,
Jason
it would,
Kelce,
wouldn't it?
Oh, hey! I mean, Jason Kelce better put his big boy pants on.
I hope that. I'm not gonna keep going. Never mind. I'm gonna say terrible things about that man. I'm just gonna let the play happen.
Terrible things about Kelce?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever listen to their podcast?
Yeah, it's okay. They're actually kind of funny interesting.
They're funny.
Yeah, they're good personalities for the league, but this week he couldn't. He's dead to me.
I don't like either of them, honestly. No. They're both. I just don't like their whole demeanor.
Yeah, they got a weird air about them.
Yeah, I think there's a little pretension going on there, which I understand. There's a bit of cockiness when you're a professional athlete, but I don't want to. I don't want to see it in an interview.
Yeah.
What if you and Scott were both the best, center and tight end in the
My
NFL?
Brother Scott. Oh, we'd have a really good podcast. It would be way funnier than
that. Oh, way funnier. Except you wouldn't talk about football at all.
Never. Nothing about football.
It would be about chodes or.
It's all chodes. It's just chodes all the time, man.
Chodes and burritos.
Yeah.
Chode!
IPAs.
All sorts of bucks and
just all kinds of nonsense. But I think if really to me, what is the most important thing, and we said it before, was that the Giants are hot. They're like Hansel, and the Eagles are a old man Derek Zoolander right now. I don't have any better metaphors for this. But no, typically, these teams have met 3 times. Like I said before, the last time they met, the Eagles won by, what was it? 22-16.
Yeah.
So, and the Giants rested every one of their starters except for Evan Neal. The first game was more of a blowout, and then they didn't have Adoree Jackson-McKinney the first game, so that was week 13. So going into this game, I think that the Giants are healthy. You have McKinney and Adoree back, which is going to be huge. When I think Devonta Smith had a really big game against them. So if they want to take out Devonta Smith and AJ Brown, they're going to really need as much secondary help as they can get. I really think you're going to see Wink run a similar defense, probably just a little bit more contained with Jalen Hurts. Although if we look at the numbers from him, specifically his rushing in those 2 games, week 13, he had 77 yards on the ground and a touchdown. And then week 17, he had 9 carries for 13 yards. So I don't know if that's, by nature of him being banged up or, Wink had, developed a better scheme in order to keep him contained. But, that's obviously on his mind and the Giants' mind in this game. And I think, the second most important thing here is that the offense is no longer really one-dimensional, just running through Saquon. I know we said this before as well, but now that you have Daniel Jones, looking like a franchise quarterback, looking like a guy who's going to throw 300 yards, looking like a guy who is going to do everything he can do possibly physically to get those first downs, get those nitty-gritty plays. I think that the Giants do have a good chance to win this game. I think it's going to be a lot harder than against the Vikings, but it's really just going to come down to, the big moments, not turning the ball over, and hopefully generating some turnovers themselves.
I want to touch on a point you brought up that I think would be alleviated. I'll put the call out there because it just came to me. I think the way to contain or the attempted way to contain Hurts, someone like Landon Collins is going to be a spy in this game. I think you'll see that. I think they're going to try to cut that out in terms of the scrambling to keep him throwing as much as possible. I don't know how Wink's going to do it, but he's going to try to do it because, who knows how to play against a quarterback who's good with their feet than Wink at this point. So why not just figure out a way to keep him in a box and dictate what's going to happen. So
you have the ultimate, scout team quarterback on your own roster. I mean, Absolutely. It's funny. So that is a good point, Colin. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, I have not crunched the Eagles tape or anything like that, and it'd be hard to say, when this season, when Hurts had bad games, what was that a result of? But I think offensively, it's going to take a very creative, probably approach or strategy. Their defensive line is unreal. How many sacks have they had that season? Like 70 sacks?
Something, yeah.
That's going to be a huge, huge challenge for our offensive line. And their secondary is also pretty elite. And while we tore up the Vikings, we haven't been a prolific passing team other than that this season. We struggled, same team that struggled to pass for over 200 yards ever, aside from the Vikings. So I think there's going to be a lot of wild plays. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of 2 running backs in the field, like more of the Breida, Saquon.
I like that.
The same time stuff.
I think that was good. That was real cool.
Yeah. and I know we talked about it last week a little bit, but I think this would be a great opportunity to do like the big body receiver packages with Bellinger and
Cager.
Hodges and Cager, to help to provide like the optionality for helping out blocking and also being, release valves. I think Daniel Jones is going to have to get the ball out really fast.
Yep.
And continue to make good decisions. And really just keep it close and play that game again of like keeping it close and making less mistakes. It's going to be a tough game for sure. But I think, I don't think it's going to suck. Like when we played the Eagles earlier this season, I was like, this game is going to suck.
Uh-huh.
Now it's going to be really fun. And hopefully the environment at the link is going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot of talk going on.
I hope that Eagles players, coaches, and fans are going to be throwing up a lot of Pizza Hut.
Yeah, was that like a paid sponsorship? What was that?
I don't know. Nick Sirianni is a big uncultured bozo. He's in a city that likes to proclaim having itself some pretty good pizza in it, and he goes and he gets someone to order some Pizza Hut like a dope.
I don't know, man. People that don't grow up in the Northeast really don't, for the most part, at least traditionally, care about or know good pizza. Like,
do you think that Brian Dable would turn down a New York slice to get some bologna stuffed crust Pizza Hut?
No, he knows better than that. He doesn't want to alienate his entire fan base.
And that's why we're going to win.
Fair enough.
He's from Sirianni's from New York.
Where?
Jamestown, New York.
Yeah, upstate. That's close to
basically
Buffalo.
Pennsylvania. Yeah. I remember when Andrew Yang was running for mayor of New York, and they were like, "What's your favorite like bagel?" He's like, "Oh, I love to get like a lettuce wrap from Times Square." Yep. And then he was just immediately was like dropped from the race.
Somers boy.
Everyone was like, "Hey, yo, I like a schmear with the shit from the Jewish deli."
Mm-hmm.
That's the mayor you want.
A nice schmear.
Yank was in Somers until like 8th grade or something.
What Somers you talking about, Nick? Sirianni went to Somers?
No, Andrew Yang like went to
grew up in Somers.
Oh, really?
No, he went to boarding school. He went to middle school.
Oh, he lived in the town. Oh, he didn't go to public school. Then he doesn't count.
He went to public. No, he went to public like middle school. He went to boarding school for high school.
Oh, for high school, got it.
He did accurately represent like how much bullying went on in our high school, and how hateful it was. I believe it.
Yeah. Well.
Anyway,
positive.
Let's talk more about more presidential candidates from 4 years ago.
No, you know what I do want. You know what I did want to say one more thing is that why the Giants are better off this week is because they're playing for each other, and there's a bond. Yeah. There's a bond in this team that's special. It's a special team.
We haven't seen a bond like this probably since 2011. Frankly, I mean 2016 was not it. I think they got there. I don't know why the hell we got.
Did you
into
see
the playoffs.
when Saquon Barkley went over to Slayton after he dropped that really easy pass and probably could have lost us the game?
Yeah.
Because he can't catch. And then Saquon probably went over there and like whispered in his ears, and he was probably like, "Hey, bro, if you do this again next week, we're gonna have a real big problem."
No. And then Dable went up to him and said, "We need you." So enough of the negativity. We do need him. Because he's
of course we do. Of course,
Saquon went up to him and said, "Hey, man, I'm also useless."
Really? Yeah, well, this is where we're going. This is where we're going. Yeah, let's end it on a.
You know who I think is the most important chemistry guy? I think it's Sterling Shepard. He is
great locker room guy.
I think people.
I love that video. Why do you have your shirt off? Were you changing?
He had to shower. He waited a couple days to shower.
Shredded ripped like that, I'd never have a shirt on.
No, that's what happened. He waited. He didn't shower for a couple of days, just so he could shower with his boys.
Yeah, I want to go shower with the team.
Honey, his wife's like, "You stink."
Honey, come take a shower with me before you go watch the playoff game. No, honey, I'm going to shower after the game with the boys.
This is for the boys. We have a lot of fun.
Showers are for the boys.
Mm-hmm. All right. With that, anything else tonight, guys?
Boy showers.
I don't know. I'm wearing my Arizona Super Bowl sweatshirt, so let's get back there.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, guys, tonight. Please follow Big Blue United, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, BB Pod Boys with the Z on Twitter. Download the DraftKings app. Use promo code TPPN when you sign up. And let's go Giants. Big Blue, Big Blue, 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 Blue.
Super Bowl.
Big Blue, Big Blue, 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 Blue.